سلام بینندگان عزیز و صبحتان بخیر. امروز دوشنبه تاریخ 6 نوامبر سال 2022 هست و من فعلا در کشور آمریکا ایالت مریلند هستم و فعلا در مکانی هستم که اینجا قرار است پرزنتیشنی برگزار بشه. در این مکان اینجایی که شما میبینین امروز پرزنتیشن هست که یکی از جوانان افغان ما در اینجا این پرزنتیشن رو ارائه میکنن و این پرزنتیشن، این برنامه در مورد تاریخ افغانستان و دستاورد افغانستان و سقوط افغانستان و اینکه وقتی افغانستان سقوط کرد و طالبان آمدند بر جوانان چی گذشت و چی اتفاقی افتاد و الان وضعیت از چی قراره برای شما در این پرزنتیشن به تصویر میکشم. امیدوارم که تا پایان این برنامه با من باشید و تمام این پرزنتیشن رو ببینید. و دوستان عزیز، ما الان میریم داخل این مکان، میریم داخل سالن کنفرانس و برای شما اینجا رو به تصویر میکشم. هنوز برنامه آماده نشده ولی با من بیاین. خب دوستان عزیز، بیننده های عزیز، اینجا سالن کنفرانس هستش که قرار کنفرانس یا همون پرزنتیشن ساعت 11:06 امروز که تاریخ 6 نوامبر سال 2022 هست آغاز بشه و شما این سالن رو میبینید. و دوستان عزیز، یک مورد دیگه که خیلی توجه منو تو این سالن جلب کرده اینه که الان بهتون میگم چیه. از کامرامن خواهش میکنم یکم نزدیکتر بیاد. این بیایید. واقعا این کارشون منو خیلی تحت تاثیر قرار داد. ببینید این رمیزی هایی که شما میبینین، این رمیزی ها اگه تصویربردار از دور بگیره کلا بیرق افغانستانه، سیاه، سرخ و سبز. و دوستان عزیز، با امید روزی که در کشور افغانستان صلح بیاد و یک دموکراسی باشه که بتونیم دور برگردیم و بتونیم همچین آرزو رو اونجا هم داشته باشیم. و بعد از پرزنتیشن حتما برای شما به تصویر هم میکشم که اینجا قراره بعد نهار یا لنچ یا همون غذای چاشت و نوش جان بکنن. بعد از پرزنتیشن دعوتن برای غذا. به خاطر همین اینجوری میذارم چیدن. و دوستان عزیز، برگزار کنندگان این کنفرانس خیلی تلاش کردن که حتی رنگ قاشقم قرمز یا سرخه، ولی فکر میکنم چنگال یا قاشق پنجه رو پیدا نکردن سیاه. اینا توش پیپرها هم شبیه بیرق افغانستان، کدام بیرق افغانستانه، سبز، قرمز، سرخ ببخشید و سیاه. و یک چیز دیگه، یک مورد دیگه که اینجا هست، فکر میکنم هنوز نپرسیدم ولی حدس میزنم که اینا توپه هایی هستن که برای کسایی که اشتراک میکنن اینا رو خواهند داد. و همینطور لنچ یا نان چاشت غذای افغانی هست. همه چی خلاصه افغانستانی یا افغانیه. شما به تصویر میکشم براتون. فقط منتظر پرزنتیشن باشید با جوان خیلی با استعداد افغان ما که واقعا پسر شگفت انگیزه. این گیلاس هایی که برای آب میوه یا به قول خود شما شربته، حتی اینا هم بیرق افغانستانه. نگاه کنید. پایان برنامه در حال شروع شدن، همه دیگران آمادگی میگیرن تا برنامه شروع بشه. شما ببینید برنامه در حال شروع شدنه. کم کم همه چی آماده میشه تا برنامه شروع بشه.
From me and from Louis Hogan. Then Hizbullah will give his presentation while you all enjoy your appetizers.
Okay, I thought it would be fun to have an Afghan lunch. Well, I learned, I don't know if I'm speaking this correctly, but their main meal is in the middle of the day. So it's not soup and sandwiches today. So So today we're going to have a chicken. It's called Levan Emir. Is that right? I guess that's close. It's chicken and yogurt. It's delicious. It's full of spices. It's really yummy with some rice made by Mary Hogan, which we're calling Mary's Rice. Mary made the rice. It's 4 different kinds of rices. It should be delicious. And we have an alternating rice as well, if that's not quite your taste buds. And a delicious salad. And we have some naan bread. And then for dessert, we have something called fırnı, which is a eggless custard, which is a taste with some baklava. So we hope you'll enjoy it. And we'll stay fun.
The pumpkin appetizer was a
Last September, a small group of St. Thomas's parishioners got together, and we began to explore how can we help the Afghan refugees that we saw trying to get out of the war. These refugees had embraced the American values in a number of ways. Some were on the front lines with our troops. Some were working together in support of the Afghan government.
I'm here. Thank you.
Sahara is a member of a family being supported by another group in Pittsburgh. Sahara and her family were in the same transition group as Hezbollah and Afghan. I think that relationship lasted about 11 months. It was a long time that they were there. And she's been able to join us this weekend, and I wish you.
Thank you.
I would also like to introduce Abdul Qadir. Who's Abdul? Abdul joined us past Wednesday, on his 18th birthday. And all of these people have very interesting stories to tell, and I'm sure you'll be interested in what they have to say. Abdul has taken a different path to get here than he did at Hezbollah. We'll let him tell his story maybe 60 days ago. I encourage all of you to visit with them during our break. And now I'll turn it over to Hezbollah. And he can tell you about his experience in 3 parts. And you can share that with us now. Thank you.
First of all, welcome everyone, and thank you for taking your time during your weekend and spend with us to listen to my boring presentation for 35 minutes. So welcome. I will speak in 3 different parts, or 4 different parts. One is the history of Afghanistan, like the first regime of the Taliban. Then in the second part is from 2001 until 2021, the U.S. presence in Afghanistan and the developments during that period. And then about myself, my activities, what I was doing in Afghanistan in terms of education, volunteerism, working in different offices, and in the last sponsor circle, how I found them, and my next 8 years vision, what I wanted to accomplish and achieve in the next 8 years. So if you see in the screen, even if you see in the world map, Afghanistan is, the Asia is actually this side, and the right side in the world map. So I put Afghanistan flag here, and traveling all the way to the US, from Kabul to Maryland. If you see like this thing, it means it was not like to travel direct from Kabul to Abu Dhabi and to the US. I went, or like thousands of other Afghans went through those hardship, difficulties, and it was not that easy to make it to the United States of America. So this chain means difficulties, hardship, that we spent for the past 11 or 12 months. Let me touch upon briefly on the history of Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a landlocked country. It's covered by mountains, doesn't have way to the sea. So Afghanistan is totally landlocked country. The neighbor countries from north and west is Pakistan, east of Iran, south of Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. And we have a very tiny border with China in the north at the Afghan corridor as well. A very tiny border with China. Afghanistan population is approximately, because I don't know what is the statistics now, but approximately 35 million population. So let me speak a little bit about the Taliban first regime. When they came into power in 1995 in Afghanistan, they didn't change even now. Their mentality was just to implement their own Sharia law. And they removed all the women's rights. They didn't allow any children to school, those who were under 8 years old. No one else was allowed to go to school. Regarding the human rights, women were not allowed to work. They were not allowed to go to offices for higher education or for schools. Even like they were that much restricted when they were wearing a high heels, they were hitting them with the rubbers and those kind of things, and were punishing them like why your legs are visible, even with the high heel as well. When they didn't cover their faces, even they were in hijab, they were saying like why you didn't wear the burqa, and they were hitting, punishing them by one way or another way. Like this is the team of those terrorists, Taliban. In the other photo you see, they were like, if they had some sexual relation, illegal relation with someone else, and they came to know and arrest that person, they will shoot it in front of everyone. You see, and they were doing that in a very big ground. They call it the Bazi Stadium or Chamini Huzuri, which is a very big ground in Kabul. Thousands of people were coming to watch that ceremony, and they were hitting with the rubbers, with the sticks and those kind of things, and at the end they were shooting to kill that person, both men, the boy or the men, both. Here, when they took over Afghanistan, what they did at the beginning, if you see, he was the president, the ex-president of Afghanistan, Dr. Najibullah. He was the president at that time. When they took over the country of Afghanistan, he went to the United Nations Assistant Nation Office, which is a political office of the United Nations in Afghanistan. If you get into that office, then no one can say anything to you, because that is like political asylum temporary in the United Nations, which is neutral. So he went inside to the United Nations office, but the Taliban didn't hear. And at that night, his brother, he also came from India because their family was living in India. He was also in Kabul that night. So the Taliban went inside to the United Nations office, took him out, they tagged them with a car and were pushing them to the square where they executed, like they shooting, hurted them, and finally they executed both the president and his brother. So this was at that time from 1995 when Taliban took over control of the country. We will have a question and interaction later on these topics. What I put this black slide is the 9/11 accident when the Al-Qaeda, Taliban, and the terrorist group destroyed the World Trade Center in New York. It was a big tragedy for all of us, for American people or whoever who were a real human being, who were feeling like others in their place. So on 9/11 was one of the dark days for the US and for all over the world. What happened when the 9/11 took place? The United Nations Security Council in a resolution along with the United States of America, they made a decision to go to Afghanistan and to destroy the places or the centers of Al-Qaeda from Afghanistan. Before they spread and before they inspired themselves that we destroyed the World Trade Centers and no one is saying anything to us. Before they get courage more, the United States, along with the United Nations Security Council, they decided to go to Afghanistan and to fight against terrorist group Al-Qaeda. So in 2001, American troops forced the Taliban from power and interim government established. Interim government, you can see Hamid Karzai, who was the ex-president from 2001 to 2004 as an interim governor, like the president, and after 2004 he became the elected president of Afghanistan in a democratic process. The people went to the ballot boxes to vote for him. There was a big discussion in Bonn, Germany in 2001, so that is why he became the interim president. People from different political parties, the international community, the United States, they all came together in Bonn, Germany as a third country to decide on someone who will be the next leader of Afghanistan. So they elected him as the interim president for Afghanistan from 2001 to 2004 before the election. In 2004, the election happened and he became the elected president of Afghanistan, Hamid Karzai. It's not. Yeah, then from 2001 to 2021, while the US mission, the US presidents, we had a democratic government and the president, what happened, what the developments we had in the past 20 years in Afghanistan with the US presence in Afghanistan. In regards to education, millions of Afghan children, both men and women, or boys and girls, started their education in big cities, in remote areas, because we had the elected government, the president, the system, the cabinet, the parliament, the upper or lower house. We had a great system started, and that's why they focused a lot on education, because the international community, along with the United States, started to invest in Afghanistan. And there was a conference in Virginia where George Bush announced this is the time to construct Afghanistan. So after that, those investment of the international community, the international organization started in Afghanistan, one of those investments were in education, where millions of Afghan boys and girls, men and women go to education, primary school, secondary school, higher education. Youth went outside to other countries to attend and participate in international exposures, exchange programs, to acquire higher education outside the country as well. A wide political participation started, both in the presence of men and women. Like we had a parliament at that time, like in these 20 years. So there were lots of seats of women. The women became part of cabinet, ministers, deputy ministers. They were playing a key role in the decision-making process in the government. So a wide political participation, political parties have been established in Afghanistan. The civil society organizations, there was a very wide, I would say, political participation because everyone had a freedom of speech. The civil participation. Let me give you an example of the civil participation. If we see the Afghanistan cricket team now, 20 years ago, they were nothing. Believe me, they were nothing. They were playing like on a domestic level, and now they are playing with the big teams in the World Cricket World Cup. They just had their competition in the cricket match with Australia 2 days ago in a World Cricket Cup. So like that kind of participation in regards to sports, in regard to the youth volunteerism, the youth empowerment, the women empowerment, that has been expanded in Afghanistan. The other one is economic. Of course, if you have a elected president, if you have a system, so people and the government started to established good contacts with other countries. We have a very famous saffron tea, I mean the saffron, which the Afghan government, they were importing to other countries. The dry food, the carpets, we found the international markets, and Afghanistan was participating in international exhibition in different countries. So the economy was going up and was increasing and was empowering. The social life, the employment opportunities become increased. Like the international companies invested in Afghanistan, and there was lots of need for the human resource and the human force to work in those organizations. The social life that has been increased, like people, especially the young people, went to attend like different capacity building programs, capacity development programs, to start volunteerism, to shape their community towards a positive change. And everyone wanted to be a youth leader, peace agent for their own community and their country. We had the freedom of speech. Hundreds of media, televisions, and radios has been established during this time in Afghanistan. Like, everyone had the right to speak, everyone had the right to express their own opinion and ideas. So there was room for freedom of speeches. So that was one of the great achievements we're developing in these 20 years. The education is the first human right that everyone needs to access it and everyone needs to receive it. So we were having a discussion with it, like what are your plans, what do you want to become in the future, and those kind of things to make them happy, to inspire them and motivate them, and to talk about the importance of education to all of them. So you can see me with my team in the class that we were talking to them. Here was one of the remote areas in my village. When I went there, though there were some security restrictions as well, but I did it because I said, it's my village, I need to visit. And I went to the classroom, the Youth for Change Afghanistan, the Youth for Change and Development Organization. We got a project. This was a voluntary work, but we got a project for these stuff of resources to buy them and to do our project to implement it. So this area, this is called Kuli Hashmutan. This was area where, like 50 years ago, the king of Afghanistan, Zahir Shah, he was coming to this area. There was a nice pool, the bird sound, noise, and those kind of things. He was coming for entertainment here. But now look at the situation. There is no pool, there is nothing. Even the men are afraid to go to this area. They would dump someone, or maybe they had some conversation and they arrest some people. So finally we took off from Afghanistan, luckily to a safest location to a third country, in Emirates, humanitarian city, in Abu Dhabi, with all the efforts of the US veterans. That they took us and they coordinated our flight, the charter flight from Mazar Sharif to Abu Dhabi. So when we landed here, the whole plane was surrounded by militaries. Like we were feeling like once upon a time, like a few weeks ago we had in Afghanistan, had a system, when we were landing, everything was very normal. But now like we don't have any government, we're not legitimized. See, the people not trusting us. The whole plane was surrounded by the UAE militaries. It was for their security and for our security as well. And we were going from the airport to this humanitarian city camp. We were escorted like in the front, the police cars, and in the back, and we were in the buses like the prisoners they are carrying. I'm not saying it was not good. I'm saying like for protection purpose and for the situation that was happening in Afghanistan. So what I did, we finally reached to Emirati humanitarian city, and volunteerism has no end. This was my goal here. I started to help Afghan male, female, adults, and children to teach them the English language. Whatever I know, at least I can deliver it to them. Well, then what should they do in that case? Because we were not allowed to go outside. We were spending like days and nights and looking all these 4 white walls, nothing else. I sit in a car after 11 months, and the roads and the cars, everyone was looking deep to me and to Abdul or to Sahar or to anyone else or to thousands of Afghan refugees who were even still here. So I started these English classes to teach them English and also to talk to them about the US culture, that you find it will make it to the US, and to speak to them about a little bit the US history, who was the first president, what happened, I was spending like every day from 3 to 4 hours with all other Afghan refugees. This was the office of Arab officials who were responsible from the U.S. mission from the U.S. embassy to us to take care of our whole system. So I was cleared like 3 months ago from the U.S., but my name was not coming in back-to-back lists. And this was the last flight that I took into the U.S., the last charter flight. And I was saying, Hezbollah, if you sit like this and your name is not in the list, you will be missed. So you need to take any action and meet these people. So I was coming every day at this hot weather. I don't know who have been to the Middle East countries. It is all sea and the sand. And if they both get too hot, imagine how it would be. If I was standing like for 3 hours, the beach would be looking every day like this. So this was the situation. It was not uneasy to stay in Abu Dhabi camp and come here. We spent like days and nights in stress, in depression, in hardship. Like during this time, I lost my cousin by robbers who hit him with a knife and those kind of things in Afghanistan. Like lots of accidents happened, which I'm not going to because it will go to too much details. From center in Lisbon, we had some administrative paperwork through the International Rescue Committee, through the Department of Homeland and Security, USIS, those departments, and they assigned me to Chicago because they were assigning each and everyone to one of the resettlement agencies to get out of the camp, the Lisbon camp in 20 days. So they called me and said, like, today you have an interview. And I said, like, okay, when I went there, they said, like, you are assigned to Chicago. And I said, like, I'm not going here. It doesn't mean I don't like it. I said, like, I see my future in the DMV area, in the District of Columbia, Virginia, and Maryland. So I told them, like, I want to go there because I've been to the state before, like 2-3 times, and I have got some networks, and I attended programs, I know some organizations, so I want to stay there. They told me, like, do you have any job offer? At that time, I had a job offer from one of the U.S. Human Rights Institute. So I showed it to them, they said, like, okay, give it to us, we will show it to our supervisor. After 4 days, when I went back to their office, so I told them, like, what is the status of my assignment, where I will be going to settle. They said, like, Chicago. I said, like, I told them, like, I cannot. Then she said, like, okay, I thought about something. She went to the sponsorship or the sponsored circle department. It was next to the USCIS office, the IFC office. So she went there, and after 10 minutes, she came back to me and said, like, can you stay with other 2 gentlemen from Africa in one house? He said, like, that I'm expecting to, like, enroll myself in the near future. And before that, I'm planning to have some certification in the information technology fields, to grow myself and for my career development and for my self-development. Apart from that, while I'm developing myself, it will take years, like getting a master, and I will use to it in the community, and my networking will expand more and more in the network and relation with different people from different backgrounds, diverse groups, from different expertise. And then I will contribute back to this community because now I have 2 homes, one Afghanistan and one the United States, that I will become a citizen in the near maybe 1 or 2 years, as soon as I have the great.
بینندگان عزیز، برنامه‌ای که امروز بود، پرزنتیشنی که امروز بود که هموطن ما جوان افغان که برای شما، برای بقیه افرادی که در سالن بودن تشریح کرد، شما دیدید، به تصویر من کشیدم و الان دیگه به پایان رسید. ما الان داریم میریم به هتل که فردا که 7 نوامبر هست من برمیگردم به ایالت پنسیلوانیا، پیتسبورگ شهرش، و از آنجا هم برای شما ویدیو خواهم گرفت. حتما تماشا بکنید. ممنونم که با من بودید. مرسی.